I'm on, all right. We're gonna assemble a 4-foot flat EcoBlade factory fit. I'm gonna go through some of the assembly steps that we found to be more efficient. There are some ways that you can't do it, some ways you can do it. A lot of these parts are oriented specific. So what I have here is I have our blades, which they come packaged in this sleeve. And so you just remove the sleeve, discard the sleeve, you don't need that. This is the outer blade. It has a countersunk hole in 4 locations for the 4-foot, 3 locations for the 3-foot, of which this screw, which is a specific star head screw, it uses a star head bit in order to screw it in, but it's countersunk so that the screw sits flush inside the blade. This is the outer blade. We're going to assemble that first. It is critical. We have tried snapping these parts together first, and that did not work. You do not want to snap. One of the things we found is that one of my original processes was to take this and snap this first and then attach the blades to it, but that will not work because when this is snapped, one of the things that you'll find is that, and I can maybe show you one of these parts we've already done. This is a 3-foot here. This is the EcoBlade final assembly. So you have this outside part here that I just showed you, right? And then you have these arms here that snap together. When we snap these two together first, and we tried to slide this blade in previous versions, the blade slid in really easily. Now the blade does not slide very easily. It's very rigid within there. It's tight, it's pressure in there. So what happens when you slide it, you get mars on the blade. So the blade gets marred up and broken up. So you do not want to do that. So right now what we do is we assemble the outside blade to these parts here, and then we go back and attach this blade to the parts. So I'll show that to you now. So we'll take 4 of these arms that were the second arm, the furthest one out. We have to insert these small little inserts into it. You have to insert one of these small inserts. I have a feeling this is going to be a part that's lost a lot, so we should have extras of these because they're going to fall, as you just saw slip out of my hand. They're going to fall, get lost on the floor, so we probably should have extras of these. But this inserts into the cavity on this arm out here, and it does fall out pretty easily to where All right, so again, this is the arm between the front blade and the rear blade. It has an orientation to it. You can see down here, this is the bottom. It has a little bit of a double jog down there. The top is more smooth, right? This has an orientation top and bottom. Here's your insert area here, where you have this insert. This is not orientation specific. It can go in either way. It does have a tendency to pop out pretty easily. So to put this together and then to move it around is not a good idea. It's best to put this in, then screw it in to get what you need. But there's the assembly. Again, the bottom is your double bump down there, and here's your top, which is your smooth. It comes out and pops out, so you'll find that having this in there, do one at a time. There is an orientation to this. There's a top and bottom to this. There's a top and bottom to this part. This part has an edge here that has a little step in it. That's the top. The bottom part is rounded and smooth. That's the bottom of it, right? Outside towards the outside the shelf has the countersunk hole. So this has an orientation up and down, and this has an orientation up and down. I just dropped a little piece that came out, the insert that came out. It's kind of hard to tell, but this bottom part down here has a couple bumps into it. The top part is smooth. So this is the bottom, that's the top. The insert goes in. So now I have an orientation here. I have the top that direction. I got the bottom there that I identify. We'll put the screw into that. I'll use the drill a lot easier than doing a hand screw or something. I'll grab onto this bottom down here. Now from 567 standpoint, what may be beneficial is if you had a fixture that held each of these in place in the right location for a 4 foot and 3 foot. One of the things about 4 foot and 3 foot, here are 2 blades here, the spacing between them are the same. 15 inches, I believe, is the spacing on that. So that's beneficial. You can do a fixture that's set up for a 3 foot and 4 foot at the same spacing. I'm just saying that may be beneficial. So you'll insert 4 of these. Again, recognizing where the bottom is, where the top is. I've asked for a torque spec of what we should torque this to, because you are going to plastic, you don't want to over torque it. But I get it to where it's snug and tight. I don't know what, mine's not set for anything right now, so I don't know what torque I'm using. Again, recognizing top and bottom. Probably should have done a 3 foot, but would only have to do 3 of these. Now the insert is not, it can go upside, it can go this way or that way. It's not specific to its orientation, and it does, so it doesn't matter which way it goes into here, which is a good thing, because you don't have to worry about orientation on that, because there are a lot of things you have to worry about orientation on. So after we have this snug, then we have our inside blade. This also has a sleeve on it that you would take and remove off. It has orientation on it too as well. It's shaped like a airplane wing. So you have a larger, thicker part down here, and then you have a thinner part at the top. Actually, that would be the bottom when you actually have it oriented in there. So it would be oriented more like this. So you have a air wing type of foil where one side, this side over here is flat. This side over here has a bevel to it. This is thicker, this is thinner. This is the top, and these parts here, as I mentioned before, have an orientation to it. This part has the same thing. It has that bevel to the outside, thicker at the top, thinner at the bottom. We're going to assemble this to this part first before snapping on. And I'm going to turn this around. Again, this has a top and a bottom. This part has a top and bottom, this being the bottom, because this is the part that slides over top of the shelf. So the hole is to slide down this way. So this is the top, this is the bottom. You have to orient the inner blade exactly right. So it can't go like this, it can't be flipped like that. It has a specific orientation it needs to be in. So I'll snap this. You have to snap from the top down for that to work, right? If you try to go from the bottom up, you're going to have interference and you're not going to be able to snap it on. So you go from the top, snap it on the bottom. So top to bottom, and then on here, move this out of the way, slide this down so you can see a little bit more. You want to go from the bottom and snap into the top.
You're on mine.
All right. All right, so I had the blade on wrong last time. I had the round part on towards the inside rather than on the back side. So this should snap in together better now. And then once you get the first snap in, then you can line up the blades this direction. You want to make sure that you're tight down here and that you're tight up the top, that you don't have check your gaps on that to make sure it's snapped in all the way. And then you repeat for all the others. Top to bottom, bottom to top. Top to bottom, and bottom to top. Now, so this is the 4-foot ticket strip. It has it has a larger C channel here and a smaller C channel here. This is the top, this is the bottom. I have the EcoBlade turned upside down because right now this is the easier process. Supposedly, the best way to do this, the previous way I used to do this, was to start with it right side up and then putting the bottom in here first and then snapping this over the top. But we've seen that this has been not an easy task to do, and I really don't want to try it here on this one, but what I have seen work is flipping it over, putting the smaller edge in first, and then we need to come back. Right now I was using a shim like this, but another tool, because the tool is going to be required to pop this lip over, because right now it won't pop over on its own. So I'll get this under, pry it up, and then over, and work my way down. I'm hoping we can fix this process, because I'm not thrilled about this. Previous versions you could do it by hand. You didn't need a tool. But with coming off the production tool, it's not working that well. We're having to do this process. So you have your EcoBlade assembled now with your arm, your two arms, your rear arm, your front arm, your rear blade, your front blade, and your tag molding. So these are the parts, and then you have your screw in there and the insert. So this is the assembly of the EcoBlade 4-foot with how we're doing it now. All right.